Well, good day, Tom. I don't know what time it is there. I think it's around mid-afternoon there. It's 0600 here in British Columbia. So thank you for taking the time to meet with me. I'm really happy that you take this kind of time to work with us and on the platform. And me being a new teacher, I'm always looking for ideas on how to find my way in getting recognized in this on this platform. I know there's what is there 3 million or 30 million, is it? 30? How many people are subscribing to Insight
Yeah,
Timer?
I'd say about 30 million. Yeah, 30 million or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people out there that could find me, but I wonder how they can actually find me. So these are the things that I think we can talk about today. But before I start, I wanted to read the quote of the day from Insight Timer platform, and it's by Napoleon Hill. You may have read it yourself. It says, deliberately seek the company of people who influence you to think and act on building the life you desire. Well, I'm seeking and you're here. So thanks.
That's so kind of you. Thank you so much. Well,
Yeah.
I say just I big up to you as well because you came along, you met me as a meditator, you person that liked my courses and what have you, and then set out to become a meditator. Got a couple of knockbacks, but you didn't let it knock you down. You came back up and you got through whatever barrier that was thrown at you, and now you are a meditation teacher on the app. So many congratulations.
Well, thank you. And I never ever thought I'd ever be that meditation teacher on the app. And on my journey to becoming an accredited teacher and being recognized by Insight Timer, yes, I did meet a few hurdles, but yourself and others on Teachers with Insight, the Facebook group, they were very helpful and supportive and giving me ideas and guidelines to help direct me in making sure that I meet the accreditation standards and whatnot that Insight Timer has. So thank you to all of you as well on Teachers with Insight.
Yeah, and I think it's good that Insight Timer do have standards because there's a massive amount of teachers on there. And one of the things I think is really important since I joined back in August 2015 to now, it's great. It's right that we have criteria both for the standard that meditators hold on the app as well, how they hold themselves, but also for teachers. And it is that much harder to get recognized and get traction on the app now because there's so many people. But that difficulty is one that old teachers like me share too. I took a year
Yeah.
off the app pretty much last year because I was doing a big renovation on my house. I had to move out into a motorhome. So I didn't have great internet access. And it's pretty easy for an old timer like me to fall back into the noise floor as it is for someone to be in the noise floor and to extract them out and put their head above the noise floor, if you know what I mean. So they're similar issues.
Well, thank you for that. And I think when you say that you took the year off, it's about building that momentum back again. And I know you have like about 75,000 followers, but if you're not on there regularly, I'm sure that they start to wane. So far, I'm still looking at courses that you're doing and taking them myself. So I appreciate your courses as well. So maybe today, what I'm trying to do is map out a plan to launch myself on the timer. I have a grand total of one meditation up right now, and it's called Candlelit. It's been getting good reviews, and I even have some donations, which is pretty cool too.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So I just uploaded my second meditation called Your Leaves of Doubt, and that's in the approval process right now, and I'm hoping that that gets approved.
Mhm.
That one was using Siri's Tree Song as the um, ambient music on it.
Mhm.
So I think what's going to happen is they're going to put that into the group. What is it called? A playlist then
Yeah.
that'll go in.
Yeah, that's one of my bits of advice as well, is that it's pretty daunting sometimes to think, hey, I'm trying to get out of the noise floor and have that sort of that worry and that doubt and fear you might not get noticed. But it's pretty easy to be consistent about producing content. And my advice really is that you have a long-term vision and aim and dream, but take a short-term set of actions and just hold that dream out there. So let me ask you then, if we were here in a year's time, having this conversation again, and perhaps we should do that. I think we should maybe just
Okay. Yeah,
put in the
we'll put a note.
that we speak in a year's time. Where would you like to be, not just on Insight Timer, but in general in your life, as a result of being on Insight Timer, let's say?
What I feel I'm looking for, in fact, I don't have a business like around meditation or supporting individuals with any type of modality. So it's not like I'm trying to attract customers to me to do what my specialties are. My specialties are actually in financial services. But that did give me an idea. And one of your courses was the meditation for business people. Can you remember what that one's called? I'm just on it right
Yes.
now.
The business of mindfulness. So that came about some years ago. Insight Timer put out an offering to the workplace, and they asked teachers would they come up with a course for business, and I came up with that course, 30-day course, which is quite meaty to get into, the business of mindfulness. Because I've always, as a TV engineer, broadcast TV engineer, I've always been about how can we use mindfulness for real world applications. So
Right.
I took the woo-woo, I stripped the woo-woo out and put a lot of practical stuff in there, so people could use it to do things like get more things done with less time, have ideas off the top of their head, but generally using kind of Buddhist mindfulness principles in business. You know, if you run a business with good ethics, then people are going to come back to you. You know, customers are going to love you, suppliers are going to love you, and what have you. And also if you treat your employees nicely, then that's all going to bounce back as well. So it's all about that kind of stuff, really. But you know, financial services, there's a gem in itself because
Right.
if we could end, what about combining your old? I combined my old career as a techie nerd with this new
I
career
know.
as a nerdy spiritual guy, so if you get those two things together, and you've been successful in that other life, how about taking some of that learning and applying it to what you're doing now, even if it's in kind of parable form, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's exactly it right there, Tom. The one thing that I've always considered when you and other meditation teachers have asked, how did you get to here, to like my app, my meditation or whatever? And that was a question I started to ask, and you pose it quite often in your sessions and meditations, is that yes, maybe I can do that. In fact, what I kind of started with was the concept of and that's the name of my website and sort of my mind space is wakeuprich428.com.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So waking up rich can mean many things. It can mean some financial aspects. It can mean just thinking in an abundant and gratitude type ways. But I also, do you know what the 428 means, Tom?
No, right, fill me in.
Okay. You wake up at 4, and between 4 to 8, you get all those things that are important to you done, like the meditation, mindfulness, tranquil sitting, journaling, meditating, whatever it might be. And you create that ritual, and that's your platform for life. You don't, now let's say I don't set my alarm for 4. I find that jarring if I'm woken up by an alarm, but I'm usually up 10 or minutes plus or minus 4 o'clock in the morning every day. So that's how I can have this call with you and feel kind of bright and cheerful and whatnot at 6 in the morning here because I've got 2 hours under my belt already.
Well, I have to modify that because I wake up at 4:44 on the dot pretty much most mornings.
I love that time. And that's usually when I'm finished my meditations at about 4:44. I open up my eyes and there's 4:44 on the clock. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So that in itself, let's go back to the question about where do I see myself in a year? Now, I think, and then when you talked about that Insight Timer or whoever talked about can we do something for business, what I'm seeing, especially in the group Teachers with Insight that I belong to the Facebook group, they come up with a theme, and then everybody rallies and packages something around that theme, whether it's the ambient music. What's the one that Wakes put out just recently?
That was Awakened from the Waking Dream, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And so many wonderful meditations were put together around that, just that one soundtrack, right? So in my mind, I think I can do something with the financial background that I have
Hmm.
that brings it into either some like, um, doing um, um, manifestation type of things for abundance and wealth and whether or not some courses around it and using, if you will, the Napoleon Hill principles of Think and Grow Rich, which was the quote today. And that was kind of, that's a message right in itself. Maybe that's something, some fodder that I can work with.
Yeah, I think people would tune into that. You know, you got the gravitas of that from your previous career, and also you got. I've just listened to your first meditation. Great sound effects, by the way, of
Oh,
the
yeah,
match striking and this sort of
yeah,
stuff.
I've
And
heard that. Yeah.
you come across with also the sensitivity to take that sort of lovely storytelling over to people, and people latch onto a story. I call my all my stuff now meditales rather than meditations or anything.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yes, I think if one getting the theme, but also just having the vision that the vision could be as simple as like between now and the next time we speak in a year's time. But I hope we'll speak before then. But the next
Yes.
time we have this conversation in a year's time. You've had not one meditation up there, but 52 bits of content minimum.
Ooh,
That
okay.
can be enough of a name, right?
Okay, well,
Now,
I'm putting 52 down on my sheet here.
there you go. Now, the thing is that there's a bit of it's not gaming, but it's kind of gamification of the system as well. Now the so one thing we did when we started putting those they're now called a composer of the month track, and I've just recorded one
That's
ahead
right.
of the next one, which is by Blossom Violet. It's about the grace of the butterfly, so you can think about butterfly
Mm,
wings and the chrysalis and all of that stuff in the context of abundance. It gives you a theme to work on. So
mhm.
if you just in our group create a track a month to the ambience of the month, you'll have 12 of those
Yeah,
tracks
that's
done.
right.
That which is easy. Also, you get added to the composer's playlist, and you big the composer up.
Yes, that's right.
People hear the composer in the background, they go and find the composer. So we're lifting each other up together. Now, this all started because I was just helping James Walker out, who wanted to know how to get some more plays with the new context of what's happening with Insight Timer. So, well, let's just try this out. We didn't know how successful it's going to be, and it's been a real joy and a pleasure to do. So,
Well,
I, I've got composers out till April next year.
well, that's awesome. And I just have to say, and sorry, I was kind of jumping in there because I was excited. I've never heard James's voice really. I've only listened to his ambient. I've never listened to any of his narratives on the ambient. The one about dreams was awesome that he did. So I
Amazing.
wasn't that awesome? Like, I mean, the visual pictures and the drawing you into that dream was great. And so have the others. I just can't, we can't spend a lot of time and acknowledge everybody, but that was, you mentioned James. So yes.
And so
Um,
gracious of James also, not only to were his words so sonorous and deep and meaningful, but also he had the grace to use someone else's background music, which I thought was absolutely wonderful.
right.
That
Yes.
helped
Yes.
the fellow composer.
Well, and think about Wakes. They're getting a real great kudo for a very well-known composer to give them space on their music too in James's talk.
It's
So that
very
was
much a
awesome.
paying it forward philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey, I had something. We talked about one. I think it was Shazzy you had on your last thing like this, talking with Shazzy, and she talked about the importance of lives. And I know that's something that you're not being doing right now, a lot of, but that's something I think I want to offer. There's one thing that I do, and it's not meditative. Well, it is in a way have I told you about the Tibetan five rites?
I think I know about it from another source. Yeah, but that would be a
Yeah.
wonderful
Yeah. So
subject
there's
alive.
five type yoga movements, right? So we're also connected and We have so much thought space, mind space, all the meditation stuff that we do. And I realized I was sitting for an hour to an hour and a half in some kind of meditative course for my own mindfulness and or just I called it tranquil sitting. That's how I labeled it so that I could say, hey, this is why I'm sitting here for an hour and a half. And I do it outside every morning, by the way, Tom. It's like 0 degrees right now, Celsius. And I gotta say that it's pretty brisk out there, but I've got a whole setup and it's great. But what I realized, I needed to do something that was more active in my mindful practice in that, hour and a half of that tranquil state if I wanted to be. So that's where I started researching. I was introduced to myself by a yogi, actually, a good friend of mine 2 years ago. And I've been doing it every day other than, maybe once I got COVID. And I am dealing with a little bit of a rib issue from a mountain bike spill, but I still do it every day. So I thought that's something I can offer live, which will get me out there that so that my name and then what it is that I believe in, and maybe get some other people excited and interested in doing the Tibetan five rites. That hopefully this is where my mindset is can lead me, as Shazi said, to if you do it consistent enough, they will follow you wherever it is that you're whatever you're doing. So does that make sense, Tom?
It does, yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. Don't get me wrong, I don't. The reason I don't do a lot of lives is I'm so busy creating content.
You are.
Exactly. So, and I had a gap for 3 months while I was creating this a direct to teacher offering, which is a new thing that we can do hopefully in the new year with Insight Timer, where we can sell a product from our website or a service from our website directly into Insight Timer. So I've been developing products off app ready for that move. Probably the first product I'll launch will be an author mentoring service, which I used to be before I got involved in Insight Timer. So it'd be like a course on how to get a book to write itself. And I'll come back to that. It's really important. How to get into the channeling state so it just flows and it flows in what's called no time at all. Funnily enough, I wrote all my stuff between 4:44 and 8 o'clock in the morning. So I write in that state, in that hypnopompic state already. And what you do then is that you can then have your lives pointing at your content, if you know what I mean. So,
Right.
so I've just put a novella out there called Time Restored, and this is
Mm,
really, really important. There's new metrics about the way that we get paid as a teacher on Instant Timer. One is on the play count, so whether it's a free track, a premium track, or a course. You don't get paid now for any engagement. That used to be a thing, but that kind of
right.
got it kind of went away for I think
Right.
the right. So you get paid, you get a bonus based on your stickiness. And the thing that makes things sticky is things repeating. So I've got two series. I've got this series called Timeful Tasks, which are little 2-minute 22 or 3-minute 33 modules. And you get one of those on a new moon and one of these on a full moon. So it's
Okay.
going with the title, free tracks. But I'm also putting out novellas, which rather than not putting short stories out there or a series of short stories or a whole novel, which I did, I'm putting out novellas. I've got two more in the can, which I'm going to put out shortly, and they're incredibly sticky, especially if you do them in the Charles Dickens tradition where you serialize them, right? So
Yes.
then what you can do, and my next live is literally on this. In
Okay.
the novella I've just put out, in chapter 12 of it, I write about a fictional activation of the third eye chakra of the earth, fictionally.
Nice.
Bearing in mind, through a lovely teacher called Deb Flanagan, I found out I live on the heart chakra of planet Earth, is right where I live.
Well, I had to Google that up and I
Yeah,
see that. Like I'm going, I thought I was maybe on one. I didn't find myself on any meridian there, but you are, I've heard. And I
yeah, I
saw
know.
that.
I think Mount Shasta's probably your closest.
That's right. Yes.
So my plan is, and this is what. So if your lives link into your content, then that's a really good strategy. So I'm going to do a live heart chakra global activation. I'll refer to the fictional version of it inside Insight Timer. It also links into another bit of content of mine called How to Alleviate Jet Lag, which involves you're sending your subtle body on ahead of time before you fly somebody, and then your gross body catches up. Works an absolute treat. And
Okay.
I'm going to use a technique out of that meditation do the thing I wrote about fictionally live, and then we're going to really power up the Earth chakra together. But
That sounds exciting.
I'm going to get everyone's subtle body to join me in my room, which is
That
amazing.
in the live, right?
In
In
the
the
live,
live.
yeah.
That's
In the live,
awesome.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
looking forward
so
to
do
that.
that with the five rights, right? How can they play into the financial abundance side of the work? Number
Hmm.
one.
Hmm.
And can you do, I don't know, can you do five lives basically on each of the five rights?
Yes, yes.
And once you finish that set of modalities, what else can you do, right? And then so as well as the meditations that you put together that go to the background with the background music from the composer of the month, you're not limited, by the way, to do one track only.
Right.
You can do the track which float your parable, the lovely light under the candle type of meditation, but you could also do one and you'd be serving the composer as well by doing more than one. I did more than one to Manuel's last month. I did one about
Okay.
spotting humangles and being in awe of the aurora, which is not easy for me to say.
Yes. Aurora Borealis.
Exactly, yeah.
So, hey, I have to jump in. I have to say one thing and thank Siri because as you said, she's already created specifically for me because she liked my poems that I was writing. I uploaded 4 poems to her and she actually produced a track for those 4 poems. What a
Wonderful.
wonderful gift. And that's somebody that I've made a connection with through Teachers with Insight. So I never ever expected that. So that's wonderful. However, is your jet lag one up there already, or is it one that
Yeah,
you're
it's
going to
called
produce?
no, it's in there. It's called alleviating jet lag. Yeah.
Okay, I got to look it up because I'm going to Australia in February, and
Yep.
I always find that I need something in that respect. So I've
It
got that
works
one
this
written
week.
down.
It works this
Okay.
week. You can also use it to remote view.
Oh, cool.
It's the
Cool.
same principle as remote viewing. Yeah.
Okay. I listening to many of like there's the whole quantum physics, there's the mystical aspects of things that you're talking about too, and there's even something else. What is that school that you I just got an email from you. It said hello there or hello again. What's about that? Tell me about that.
That came about because when a problem comes my way, I've always innovated around it. And when I could see that Insight Timer had to change their revenue model quite rightly so they could sustain the business and sustain us as teachers, I started putting together a lot of materials which I've never been able to upload to Insight Timer because they don't only allow audio upload, no
That's
PDFs.
right. That's right.
I found an external platform to put it all on, and I'm launching. Effectively, it's like a Hogwarts for adults.
Okay.
I can't use that in the marketing. I think J.K. Rowling might be upset if I use that
Oh,
in
yeah, that's
quite
right.
likely. But it's a magical school, and in fact, one of the first free modules, Shazzy recommended it should be free, is is the module on abundant thinking. So
Oh,
that
great.
the thinking behind making that free is that when you take the module on abundant thinking, which is not just about money, that's just a
That's
byproduct
right.
of them.
That's right.
It's about abundance in all its senses. Then you might just remember that this bloke called Tom, it was his course that brought a bit of cash your way. Then you might think to reinvest that in some of the other courses. That's the
Absolutely.
logic about it. But that's not my driver, and that's what I mean about having where do you want to be in a year's time? You know, if you're 52 meditations in, and all it was one a week, and how easy can you do that? If you go into Australia, you might want to do a few before you travel, so you
Yeah,
got a few.
put them in the bag. Yeah.
Yeah, but also you could also say, and this is what I really recommend is that you get 4 courses out there, one a quarter minimum.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then I get about 75% of my revenue from courses and about 25% through standard plays. So you've got 4 courses there. So for any new teacher, one meditation a week and 4 courses would be a really good first year's output. Now, if you do 8 courses, or you do 104 meditations, that's fine, but don't burn yourself out. It's got to be enjoyable and you've got to have fun while you're doing it, you know?
Exactly. And I'm having fun today. In fact, I've been watching and following Violet 108 and how she's doing the Meet Your Guides, and she has that the whole Melanie and her moderating the guides. I like that. In fact, I kind of feel um, that Wake Up Rich 428 could have sort of a little podcast kind of following where I bring in speakers that and we have these kind of talks like you and I are today, where
Mm.
we have them talking about abundant living and wealth, or how do you create a rich lifestyle, right? Not in terms of financial always, but some people want that. But that's another thing I can kind of maybe see when you talk about in a year's time. Maybe I'll have a nicer headset and maybe a wireless connection to my headset or whatever when we're having these discussions. But that's something else I can see. Can you see that being a possible thing too to put into the lives?
Yeah, absolutely. But there's something you can do which is slightly above just the where you are, right? Which you park out there. And I've got this a course called Living Purpose or Purposeful Living. It's called on Insight Timer. There's a module in there called setting a meta strategy. So imagine that you've done all these things, Richard, which I know already you'll smash it. So you'll be there if not beyond that. You're that sort of person, and you like a goal, and so you'll get there, right? What would be the most amazing thing that could have happened to the people that have listened to you as a result of you hitting that sort of that target?
The most amazing thing would be um, I feel like I have something to say, and I feel that there's if people could hear it, I think we could we could make a difference in the world. Like I know that's big, but I when I hear about what you're doing with the third eye opening for the world, that's something incredible. But like I'm just new, but you've got years of experience and you can really make an impact because you got 75,000 followers. I'm there sure if it's marketed out there, we'll have thousands of people. I don't know what the biggest live event has been. Do you know what that number is?
I wouldn't. I've been up in the hundreds, but to me, I'm really not a quantitative person. I'm a qualitative person
Yeah,
because
of course. But I think
it,
there's so much to offer there.
exactly. So you don't have to know the answer to this right now, but so the vision is that you achieve a goal. Well, one, you're having fun on the way, and you'll be in a different position in a year's time, right?
Right.
Two, then you then think about in meditation. Think about this in the or allow it to come in the 4 to 8 time. Um, and what then would be a great result for you having done this for other people? And here's then the icing on the cake. What then would be a great result that they do for other people and the planet and the cosmos as a result of you achieving that very achievable short-term goal? Once you've got that anchored, you end up in a state called future entanglement. You get drawn towards it easily. All the resources you need to make it happen line up. You're already good at that because you found the Teachers with Insight group. You joined and you're working with everybody and co-creating with everybody, which is great. You'll then in a year's time, if you don't mind me projecting out this,
Okay.
there'll be another Richard or two in a year's time that you'll be doing this conversation with say, well, this is what I did, and this is how you can do it too. So we're all pulling ourselves up with
We
our
are. We are.
boots.
Well, we've got 7 minutes left, Tom. What types of things do you think that I can do? Anything just quickly? That was a great point. I've got lots of notes. Is there something I can do? I got so many things listed to do. Maybe I should just be.
You could be, yeah, but also that goal that I set you for 4 courses, tune them into the 4 waypoints of the year, the equinoxes and the solstice, right? So get the first one out, let's say by March, that'll be an equinox, wouldn't it? The equinox, then summer solstice, then autumn equinox, and then the winter
Yeah.
solstice, and then
And
you'll
that's
be
doable. That's doable from
yeah.
this time point.
Yeah. So that'll be 4 courses minimum. So
Okay.
there's also the waypoints as well.
Yeah.
And then if you got regular content, uh, which is this sticky stuff, which I've been producing, put the sticky stuff out in time with the moon. Now something else happens then. There's 13 moon orbits every year, so you end up with 26 bits of content. So that's half the 52 already. You see what I
Okay.
mean? So, and then because you're working with the cosmos, you're just flowing. And what happens is, I don't even think about my bits of content for January, and the next month. All I do is focus on the next one,
Yeah.
and it pops in that whole book, Time Restored, popped in the Hypnopompic point.
Do you remember when I pointed out I was looking at something you produced and I said, "Hey Tom, I think you have a typo." Do you remember that? It
Yeah.
was
There's
month.
a moon.
Month. I thought, doesn't he know how to spell it? Month? It's got
I
month.
normally hyphenate it just to make the point. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but it worked.
it does, yeah. It's Cosmic Yardsticks, and with that Aditum, which is my off app offering, which is like going to be this magical school. I've got an outer sanctum which I'm launching now, and an inner sanctum, and I'm not going to push myself, even though I could do, to launch the inner sanctum ahead of people not having taken the materials in the outer sanctum. So I'm aiming for either the March equinox or the summer solstice for the launch of that as well. So again,
Great.
going with the cosmic flow. And the reason for that is that I think I've been working on these materials for at least 15 years of this life, but probably about 15 lifetimes as well. So
I
another
believe that.
another half year of Lydia time is not going to rock the boat too much.
Well, and to have those goalposts or yardsticks along the way that you can work towards, it doesn't feel as daunting, but you have some little marks that you can set a pace to, right? And cadence that should create some consistency, which I'm a big guy about consistency. In fact, I was in the army, polishing boots and marching left, right, left.
Mm.
So that kind of cadence is a thing that I think we can all really take heed of and follow. So thank you.
Yeah, and this thing just over my shoulder here, that's a moon cycle clock.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's always there as a reminder.
Okay. The reminder for me is I hear my top clock ticking just up there,
Uh-huh.
and I realized on my first try on doing my first meditation on Audacity, I'm going, Tom mentioned there's clicks, but I think this is a tick. I'm
Uh-huh.
hearing the ticking of my clock on my first track, and I'm going, oh my God, I got to get that clock out of here when I do recordings. It was quite evident. But I know you do have some tracks with a clock ticking in the track itself. So maybe I should do one like that.
And what I've done, I've slowed the tick down. I'll send you the audio sample, you could use it.
Okay.
I used it first in a live session where it's 3 minutes 33 long, and I used it in a
Okay.
live session and asked the audience, there were 90 people in the room, how close their eyes and tell me how long that was. And I got a spread between 2 minutes and 12 minutes of what that 3 minutes 33.
Wow.
It's all
And
about
by
this
the
time.
Yeah, and we have 3 minutes left. So that's actually three. Oh, I missed the 3:33 mark, Tom.
So,
It's
as I was
three
saying,
minutes.
3:33 was ready. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Fantastic stuff.
So I think this has been wonderful that we could catch up like this and time zones don't really matter. We can always make it work. Well, hey, thanks, Tom, for getting me started. And what would you say to any new person that wants to become a meditation teacher?
That's a great question. I'd say actually don't create that first meditation. Just think about that goal, where you'd like to be in a year's time. Think about then where you doing something like that would then lead people that listen to you, and then where they would be and what they would do as a result. Hold that in your heart, ideally at the 4:44 time, and then let it all roll from there.
That's wonderful. I think that's a great message. Thank you, Tom. So I know you have a dog that needs probably walking, I'm sure. Um, is it raining there today?
No, we've got a dry day, a rare dry day, which is
Okay, well, you'll have a wonderful walk then, won't you?
great. And I'll see you at least in a year's time when there'll be those 52 bits of content and the full course is up.
We'll put it on the calendar for sure. Thank you.
Fantastic. Take good care.